Hey folks, I'm Jack Fossett, and welcome to this demo and review of the new Keeley Hydra stereo reverb and tremolo pedal. I am really excited to get this pedal and to be able to bring this video to you. I just want to say from the start that I'm a wicked Keeley fanboy, and I'm totally okay with that. So, now this is a sponsored demo. That being said, I'm a wicked Keeley fanboy, and I'll sing their praises all day long, and that's fine with me. So, I've played Keeley pedals for a long time, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, and two of my favorite Keeley pedals are the Dynatrem and the Hook Reverb, and basically in broader and slightly different but kind of similar ways, it's taken everything that I love about those pedals and put it into this pedal. Real quick from the start, you've got spring, plate, and room reverbs, you've got sine, harmonic, and vibrato tremolos, you've got the ability to save presets, you've got a tap feature, this kind of like the Eccos, you've got this, if you press and hold this, these are alternate functions and things. You've got really all the controls that you need, but it's in a very easy to use kind of layout. Again, it is in stereo, and it can also be run with an expression pedal. Now, I started off doing this mono, and the reason I started off doing this mono is because a lot of amplifier reverbs and tremolos are going to be mono. They're going to be, you know, your basic signal. A lot of my favorite amp-like tremolos and reverbs are mono. They're not stereo. Well, one of the things about that is, for a pedal like this, for the most part, for what I will ultimately use this for in a lot of ways, is bringing a realistic sounding reverb and tremolo to amps that don't have it, like my Fender Bassman, which is one of my favorite amps, my Franklyn amps 5E3, which is one half of what I'm using in this video, that don't have reverb and tremolo built in. And for those amps, I really just love having a good realistic sounding reverb and tremolo. So a lot of times when I use this in real life, for beyond demo purposes, I probably will use it in mono. That being said, right at the last second I thought, well, let me just plug it in stereo and things. So I plugged it in stereo, and I'm so geeking out over using this thing in stereo. Now, I've used stereo effects many times before, because I've used a lot of pedals that do stereo, but there's some pedals that do stereo, and then there's other pedals that do stereo. You smell what I'm stepping in? This pedal does stereo. As soon as I plugged this thing in stereo, and what I'm doing in this video is I got the Franklyn 5E3 and also Supro Royal Reverb, and I've got the Supro's Royal Reverb turned off. If you, it's reverb is turned off. I was doing a thing. As soon as I plugged it into stereo, it was like, see how the rare guitarist's eyes float to the back of his head as he is submerged into a sea of tranquil tones. It was just magic. And again, it just does the stereo thing so well. And particularly when you did, I found, effects more like the harmonic tremolo or vibrato. Not that the sine doesn't sound great in stereo, because it does, but those were the ones where it kind of felt to me this sort of like more lush movement and all this. And it just sounded really great. Boy, the stereo just sounds good. Now, the controls, again, give you everything that you want, and then some things you didn't even know that you wanted, but you do, like this color control, which does some really cool things, particularly with like spring age and room size for the, spring reverb and the room reverb, so you can make it sound like a really, really splashy, kind of reflective spring reverb, or not. You can make the room sound like you've stuck an amplifier into a tiny little room and kind of get more of that reflection, that quick bouncy reflection like a room reverb. So there's so much that you can do with this pedal, going from really, really wide, wild soundscapes and effects, again, back to just getting a great simple tone. If you want to make this sound like just kind of a vintage amp with some tremolo, you can do that. Or you can create crazy, long, luscious, swimming soundscapes that make you sound like you're on planet Earth. And one of the biggest things for me, and this is because there's plenty of pedals out there that do reverb and tremolo, they're both foot switchable. I love that. There's so many pedals out there that are a reverb and a tremolo, and it just has one foot switch, and that's all well and good and everything, but I'm like, for instance, for me, I like reverb on pretty much all the time, just a little bit, not a big luscious one, but I like a little bit of reverb whenever I'm playing. I don't always like tremolo whenever I'm playing. So to have that as either of them foot switchable, to be able to use one or the other, that works really, really well for me, just from a very practical standpoint. So again, for this demo, I'm plugging into the Franklyn amps 5E3 and the Supro Royal Reverb. I'm also using a Keeley Red Dirt Germanium and a Keeley Eccos for part of it, just to kind of add to the lusciousness of the soundscape and everything. Using 3 different guitars, using a Gretsch Electromatic, newly installed Righteous Sound Pickups Spetrano Filtertron inspired set, using a Man Mariposa, and then also using a Gibson Les Paul Deluxe. Gonna do some different tones with each of those guitars, just showing you some of the kind of infinite seeming range that this pedal can do. Let me know in the comments, have you used the Keeley Hydra, the new Keeley Hydra? Have you used some of the other pedals that I mentioned, like the Dynatrem or the Hook or any of his various other reverbs and things? Again, I'm a Keeley fanboy, have been for a long time. They were one of the first companies that ever gave my channel a chance back when my videos were pretty abysmal, and even bailed me out at NAMM once when I was supposed to go to NAMM in winter of 2016, and the company I was going with had to pull out at the last second just because of finances, which was no fault of their own. This sort of thing happens in NAMM, but I had my travel arrangements all set and everything, and Rob Keeley found out about it and said, come hang out at our booth, and they got me a badge, and I went to the NAMM show and hung out at their booth. So I love this company. I've loved them for years. So does that mean I'm not objective when it comes to a video? I don't care. It's a great pedal. Check it out. Stick around for some more tones. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.